How's it going, folks? It's Lobo, and welcome back to the channel. So the time on the screen is when you can flip to catch my reaction, because I just want to get things rolling today. We're just going to have a little discussion before we begin. And of course, if you haven't seen anything, that should all be in the description. But just going off of last episode, things are obviously going to have to pick up, or they're going to have to meet at a point, meaning like Falcon and also Bucky. Well, I could really say Sam and Bucky, but their stories, I didn't think their stories were going to be separate prior to going in this. I thought they were going to naturally kind of be friends and in communication with each other, but that's not the case, because it said that Bucky is ignoring Sam's messages, or at least his therapist said so. So I can see that happening with everything, like the blip occurring. Both of them came back. But they had a kind of a friendship in Civil War, just kind of. That was more on the act of necessity rather than like love, so not really, but here I'm sure their friendship will develop. They had an understanding in Endgame, though. I'm pretty sure Bucky knew prior to Steve's departure that Steve would stay in the past and then give the shield to Sam, so I think they at least have some respect for each other. But now we're going to have to see how it develops, especially with the new Captain America, who, if I remember correctly, the name is John Walker. So I'm going to see how this all plays out. I'm excited to get started, and not going to lie, I just kind of want to plow through this series because I want to get to Loki, man. I'm so excited for Loki. I'm more excited for Loki than I have been for either WandaVision or this show. It's kind of this. I wouldn't call that blunt, but that's just my honest opinion. I've always been excited for Loki. So once this is over with, I'm so excited to start Loki, which I will begin with. These episodes are coming every other day, so I imagine after episode 3, I should have all this up, meaning all Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then probably the 3 Loki episodes, and then probably like smoothly running the episode 4. So I'm excited. And yeah, I'm just going to get this one started. There he is. Also, I heard originally this guy actually auditioned for the Steve Rogers role of Captain America way back in like 2010. I'm like 70% sure that's true. So that's a cool little fact. In the end, he did get to play Captain America.
Be yourself.
Yeah.
They're gonna love you.
Well, the real world fans certainly did not. This poor guy. Again, I talked about last episode how the actor got a number of threats, which is very unfortunate. I kind of expected him to have like a lower tone voice. He has a pretty deep voice. Like, I like his voice. It actually works really well. It's like good enough to voice like Captain America in his own solo video game. If the video game gods would be generous and give us that shit, that would be awesome.
Senator meetings. I just want to do the job.
As I asked last episode, is this guy a super soldier? Again, you don't really need to be a super soldier, but it definitely helps. Captain America is really more of like a leadership type of thing. You can't be Captain America if you don't have like the character for it. Like, I'm not talking about like, oh, you're a specific character. I mean like character. Like, you have to have a heart, discipline. You have to be the one who's willing to pay the ultimate price. As Steve has displayed numerous times. This is so bizarre, man. Why are they at like a high school to celebrate Captain America?
I know they did a big rollout for you, right?
It's the greatest honor of my life.
The government did a study of your body at MIT, and you tested off the charts in every measurable category.
Oh, holy shit, dude. This guy's awesome.
I don't have the flashiest gadgets, I don't have super strength. But what I do have is guts.
He threw the shield that far and fast and doesn't have super strength?
Always wanted to be a hero.
That must be so weird for Bucky to see. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna pause for the rest of the episode, but again, I understand from the premise of Sam not getting the shield. That's why it's a hard blow, because the government went behind his back. But originally, Sam forfeited the shield. He said he didn't want it and stuff. So I mean, I don't know like how they can be upset with that. because, again, he gave it up. Like, I can understand from the perspective that it's disrespectful to take Steve's shield and then just without his consent, because pretty much he passed it on to Sam. I get that, but I thought this guy was going to be more of like a villain, unless I'm prejudging, so that might be my own fault. But from what I've watched, like, he seems like a good guy. Again, he has like the military training. I mean, he's excelled at all his military training. And he seems like he's saying the right things. Obviously, in the private moment within the locker, he seemed really nice and like a normal person who's anxious about taking on this role. I don't think he's saying it all for the cameras. As you saw in the locker, that's a private moment. You could tell his type of character and stuff. But it just makes me think about again, I'm going back to the death threats and the threats in general that this actor faced. I really wish that had not occurred, and I feel very bad for him. Like, I can understand if you're replacing someone in the MCU. You understand there's going to be backlash, but that type, man, he doesn't deserve that. Even if he's a villain in the freaking show, he still does not deserve that. I know it's like second history now, but I'm watching this later, so obviously I'm going to talk about it, but I don't know. Maybe he'll unravel into a villain, but I just feel really bad that this guy had to go through this, because he's doing a great job acting, and his character seems really like nice and trustworthy. Although, again, I could be saying this prematurely, so that's on me. But I just want to say I feel kind of guilty that this guy went through this. I don't know. Very empathetic, but we'll continue to watch this. I promise I won't pause again, but it just, you know what I mean? It just made me think, because this is a serious matter. So yeah, let's just continue watching.
Shouldn't have given up the shield.
Good to see you too, Buck.
This is wrong.
Hey, look. Yeah, right. It's a great reunion, buddy. Be well.
You had no right to give up the shield, Sam.
Hey, this is what you're not gonna do. You're not gonna come here and you're...
What big three?
The big three.
What big three?
Androids, aliens, and wizards.
That's not a thing.
That's definitely a thing.
No, it's not.
Every time we fight one of the three.
So who are you fighting? I read The Hobbit in 1937 when it first came out.
So you see...
Yo!
No, there are no wizards.
Doctor Strange.
There's a sorcerer.
A sorcerer
Oh!
is a wizard without a hat. In front of me with the staring problem.
I'm coming with you.
No, you're not.
Well, that's how they came together. I was talking about this before the episode started, how they're gonna meet each other. Here we go. The Air Force just let Bucky walk onto the ship with them. Or plane, excuse me. Yo, Bucky, what you doing? Dude, that beat out Steve jumping out of like the 30th floor. Do you remember that during Winter Soldier when he had to jump out the window? That shit was higher, bro. Oh my god, my voice cracked. And my voice was higher too. What a coincidence. I don't know, bro. Those memes about Bucky getting nerfed. I'm not seeing them yet, dude. He just jumped out of a plane and fell like a couple hundred feet. And crashed through trees and shit. It's kind of like Drax when he was stuck at the end of their ship.
They have a hostage.
look at him run, bro. That's what I wanted to see. Holy shit, Bucky. Oh, that's awesome, bro. It's like when Steve and T'Challa were running side by side in Infinity War. That shit was awesome. What if she's not a hostage, though?
You okay?
Vaccine transport. Yeah, I was gonna say, bro. Red Wing! You probably pissed Sam off now. Oh, what? Oh, this is so weird seeing him in action.
Sam, John Walker, Captain America. Lamar Hoskins. Looks like you got
Oh my
shit from
god. It's so weird. I can just see the tension. I don't feel it though. I like this character. that was a cool shift of momentum. Damn, smooth as hell. He's got really good aim.
Okay.
Yeah, no. That was a bad idea, my man. See, I said earlier, you need the character to be Captain America, but you also kind of need the super soldier thing. Or at least Sam's wings. That would make up for it. Don't be petty like that, man. You gave up the shield. I mean, they're all mad at each other.
Now, huh?
You ever jump on top of a grenade?
Yeah, actually I have 4 times. It's a thing I do with my helmet. It's a reinforced helmet. It's a long story, but look, it's 20 miles to the airport. You guys need. She always just stare like that. Look.
I kind of feel bad for him, dude. Like, I understand, again, Sam and Bucky, but Sam gave up the shield! How can they be mad? It's your own thing. Bucky was mad at Sam for giving up. Now Sam is mad that somebody took it. Like, I don't know, man. It'll all work out in the end, but still. Yo, what the hell? Oh my god, bro. What kind of text message is that? Also, Sebastian Stan auditioned for Captain America originally. No. I was gonna say, is this someone from Bucky's, like, past? But
How do you know this guy?
World War II was a long time ago. Pretty much all the people who lived back then are dead now. I heard in the back while I was talking, I need to shut up a bit more, but they had a skirmish during the Korean War, Bucky said. But that would be during the time he was the Winter Soldier then.
Not a killer anymore.
You think you can wake up one day and decide who you want to be?
It's because there's more of you and me out there.
You and me.
And we need to know how.
I'm not gonna talk about it anymore.
Yo, he's a super soldier? Oh shit. Does it prolong their life? Because this guy is close to 90 then. Assuming he was like 20-ish in 1951.
Mandated therapy. It's like missing a check-in with your PO. Sorry, Mr. Barnes, you're under arrest.
What? I did not think that therapy came at like... I thought that was of his own will, not like a court-ordered thing. Damn it, man.
That was not me.
Christina! Great to see you again.
Oh my god. I love this guy. He's a little bit more, like...
You too, Wilson. I'll be outside.
I think, I wouldn't call it charisma, but he's got more, like, energy than Steve did. I like that Sam went to go get him out. That's a good friend.
So,
Freaky Magoo over here. But I'm 100%.
it is my job to make... It's something I use with couples when they are trying to figure out what kind of life they want to build together. Miracle.
Yeah, I love their duo.
Okay.
Thank you for
I love this. Oh,
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
man,
turn
this
around,
is
turn
right
around,
up
face
your
each other.
alley.
Face
You
each
should-
other.
You
Face,
should
let's
really
do it.
enjoy this.
I'm going to.
I know you are.
And face each other.
Let's do it. Let's stare. Well, which way
Why do you have to have your
right or
legs
left?
open? You know what? Fine. Here. Oh, you happy
Well,
now?
all right.
We're
Good.
locked in
Fine.
now.
It's a little close.
It's very close. That's what you wanted, right?
Guys. Good. Now look at each other. You need to look at
Oh,
each
this is great.
other in the eyes.
He gave you that shield for a reason. That shield, that is everything he stood for. That is his legacy. He gave you that shield and you threw it away like it was nothing. So maybe he was wrong about you. And if he was wrong about you, then he was wrong about me.
Okay. Now I can see Bucky's stake in this.
That look, what's wrong?
What was rule number 2 again?
Don't hurt anyone.
Oh god.
Goodbye, Doc.
Yo, Bucky, chill.
A word of advice then. Stay the hell out of my way.
Okay. We'll talk about this afterwards, because I mean, he's trying to be helpful and work with them, and they're kind of blowing him off, so I can understand if then he's like, fine. I don't think he's being a dick, but Sam and Bucky refuse to work with him. Dude, you're about to get lit up.
Not a chance.
Walker doesn't have any leads.
I know where you're going with this, and no.
He knows all of Hydra's secrets. Don't you remember Siberia?
So you're just gonna go sit in a room with this guy?
Talking about Zemo?
Yes.
We're gonna go see Zemo.
Oh shit. I really like Zemo's character. Oh, and they have whatever that place is. I remember this from Civil War. Damn, he's just still in prison. Damn, alright, that's the end of the episode, and we're gonna talk the shit out of this one. Alright, first things first, I want to focus on John Walker, okay? I said earlier about, like, the actor and the threats, and I mean, it's, like, pretty simple. That's not a good thing to do. Threaten anyone, really, to, like, kill them and their family, that's terrible. And again, I still feel bad about the actor, but moving on to the character, again, I understand why people were backlash over it. Him replacing Captain America when, as Bucky said, it should have been Sam because Steve chose him. It's like that legacy and stuff. Like, I understand Bucky 100% why he's upset. I'm still a little bit unsure about Sam, though. It might be... I'm just too unsure. I don't know if it's like the responsibility, because Sam is more than qualified for it. From everything I've seen him, again, he has that attitude. He's disciplined, highly trained, and a very good fighter. Even though he doesn't have super strength, he does have his wings and shit, and he fights very well. Like, he has literally every qualification to be Captain America. That's why Steve chose him, and that's why Bucky also goes along with that decision. Again, John Walker to me has displayed all those qualities, but now I'm not saying he's like a bad guy, but now I'm kind of understanding why he's really not meant for the role. Again, I wouldn't say it's because he's a bad guy. That thing where he said, then stay the hell out of my way. You have to understand the situation. Sam and Bucky were kind of being, I wouldn't call them douchebags, but they kept refusing to work with him, even though he was offering them intel, giving them a ride and stuff. He bailed Bucky out of jail. Like, he's still trying to work with them and create some, like, relationship. So I respect him for that. But just, like, looking off his personality, I wouldn't say Steve is, like, I'm going back to Steve, because, again, he's the original Captain America, so you kind of have the credentials or how this role is supposed to look. But Steve was not as kind of vocal or, like, joking and stuff. Like, this guy is very, I just don't know how to put it to words. Again, I wouldn't say it's charisma or swooning or whatever, but he just kind of jokes, you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't really have, his posture is not that serious. He's like, again, it's leaning. That's not a big deal, but I don't really get the sense of confidence from him, if that makes sense. I still feel like he's struggling with the role. Again, he's in someone else's shoes, so to speak. But I kind of just don't feel like he belongs there, and he knows it. I don't know. He's kind of acting like a little bit of a goofball. Even the way he talks, or the words he says, it's not very kind of, I wouldn't say authoritative, but it's not the, like, leader type of thing. Like, Steve had very strong language. I know, of course, there's moments where he can joke with his friends and stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when it comes down to business, when you're Captain America having a mission or something. It's different. It's different. With him, I feel like he's missing that quality that Sam has. Again, it just has to go more with that discipline, you know what has to get done type of attitude, which, like I said, Sam does have, so it would make sense for Sam to take up the mantle, even though he denied it. Like, it's rightfully his, and he should be. But again, this guy, passed everything, all his athletics and stuff, and he seemed in his interview and when he was in the locker room, he seemed like a decent guy. So I still think he's a good person, but there's a difference between like being a good soldier and a good leader. And obviously you should be a good soldier prior to being a good leader. As seen with Steve, again, he gained his abilities. He had a lot of courage, but more importantly, he had a lot of heart. And that's what helped him a lot. Because as the doctor said, I forget the doctor's name, but the guy that experimented on him, I remember from the first Avenger, it was a pretty good line, but he said something along the lines of how Steve was a little man and didn't really have power, that once he got power, he would understand the limitations and the boundaries and learn to respect both worlds. So you need something a little bit like that. Again, this guy has all like the military credentials, but again, he just lacks that kind of character. And well, I think Sam has it, but I just need him to accept it. But I can understand there's a lot. This one is tricky because you have essentially 3 different people: John, Sam, and Bucky, with all their different opinions and stuff, and they're trying to meet in the middle. So it's a little bit of a tense situation. Bucky's just mad at Sam because Sam doesn't want to pick it up. And again, then as Bucky said, something I didn't even realize, he said if Steve was wrong about you, then he was also wrong about me. And obviously Bucky now, as the therapist said, has his life back, his memory. Well, I wouldn't say memory, but he has his own freedom now. So the choice is his, and I'm sure he wants to stay on the positive side. In Sam and not accepting the shield just kind of I want to say deteriorates. God damn it, dude. I can't function my words today. I've had a long day. I can't really formulate my words as I usually do or would like to, but it kind of undermines everything that was kind of put into place with the passing of the shield and seeing something in Sam and then Bucky himself. So that's that. But then this John Walker guy just stepped in. Again, I'm saying he was the first in his class in athletics and stuff. And again, that's a hard thing. Put yourself in his shoes. It is very hard. Again, I know this is all fictional, but to step into somebody else's position while they're regarded in this like shining light, and then you have to match that in the public's eye and in your own eye, which sometimes can be worse. Sometimes your perception of yourself can be worse than how others perceive you. But it's very hard for him. I can imagine it'd be hard for anyone. So it's a very interesting dynamic between them. But again, I don't think John's a bad guy, but I just think that he should take the role a little bit more serious. You know what I mean? Again, as I said in episode 1, or my first reaction of this show, Captain America is supposed to be a source of hope, and he's supposed to be kind of like a beacon, essentially. So he should have this sort of presence and friendliness to him, especially with the American people, the people he's trying to protect. I know he can go across the globe and stuff, but he's Captain America. But just in general, amongst the people, he should have a sort of inspirational effect that he emits. And I like that he was like signing autographs and stuff because, like I said, Steve started off with that. He doesn't do it that as much anymore, but that's how he started off. So I don't know if he's gonna go on the same arc that Steve went through or whatever, but I can see them how they're trying to pan him as the villain, but he hasn't really done anything villainous in my eye yet. I'll keep an eye out though. And on the Zemo, I'm excited for Zemo. Actually, we'll talk about Zemo in like a minute or two because right now I'm gonna talk about. So we have a bunch of super soldiers. The oh my god, what is their name? The people with the red masks. I forgot their group's name. How did I do that? Anyway, they want to return to one world, one people. Are they called the Red Hand? Something like that. And I don't know where they got their serum from or whatever, but that's crazy. We met Bucky's old friend Isaiah, which was cool to see that there was like a bunch of super soldiers from different times. And it's just making me wondering, like, where is this coming from? Because then again, where did Hydra get their super soldier thing? Because as I recall, the Doctor was the only one. I forget his name. The main Doctor that created Steve, he died, and then the Hydra operative stole the last vial of the super soldier serum and then ran out in the world before Steve caught him and smashed the vial. So I don't know where they got their information to making super soldier serum and how it's just made its way to present day, but that'll be interesting to see how that pans out. But on to Zemo, I really like Zemo's character. Again, he's a villain. He's a killer. He killed a bunch of people. He shouldn't have done that. But it's one of those things, kind of like I always think about Spider-Man 3, the Sandman. I know a lot of people give Spider-Man 3 a bad rap, but Sandman, again, he was a character who was complex. Like, he was technically a murderer, and he was a thief. He was in prison. He was an escapee. But he did something accidentally, and he was the type saying, I'm not asking you to forgive me. I just want you to understand. Like, I never forgot that. I love when things put into terms that there's always a second side to the story, or the world is never as it seems. It's not black and white. I don't want to be like sound like emo or whatever, but it is. It's really shades of gray, because there's a lot of good and bad. They mix. So Zemo's character was always interesting because his family died in Sokovia. His kid, his wife, and his father, if I recall, they like died hugging each other. It was very graphic. Well, they didn't show the scene, but again, that description is very graphic. And of course, he held the Avengers responsible. He's the one who initiated Civil War, and he found out the book from the Hydra guy, so he could control Bucky when he did the report for 1991 and shit. And then he brought them to, as I think it was Siberia, where he played the clip of Tony's parents being killed by Bucky, which was such a crazy emotional scene. It was dark, but it was just crazy to see such an impactful scene in the MCU. The MCU has a lot of scenes, but that one was just, the vibe was completely different. I liked it a lot because it was so emotionally powerful. And it also broached the idea of, again, this thing where it's shades of gray. The whole point of Civil War was like choosing a side, and they presented it in such a good way where you could really get very decisive over, oh my god, who do I agree with here? And you just kind of had to meet in the middle. That's why Civil War is one of my favorite Marvel movies, because of that premise of what is right. It puts into a lot of questions about our own morality and life choices, but Zemo was, again, an interesting character because he wasn't really trying to get, well, I could call it vengeance or revenge, but he wanted to tear the Avengers apart from within, as he said. And I also liked at the end we had, again, T'Challa. He said, vengeance has consumed you, it's consuming them, while they were fighting. Like Steve, Bucky, and Tony were all fighting each other. And then he said, I won't let it consume me any longer, which was an incredible line. Chadwick Boseman was perfect for that role. It's still sad to see him go, but him in that movie was awesome to see all these different perspectives of like Wrath and vengeance meet up. But Zemo was kind of like the integral part of it because he was the one who was setting everything in motion. And as we saw, Black Panther grabbed the gun before he shot himself because he was going to off himself. And he said, the living aren't done with you yet. So it didn't make it seem like he had a purpose. He just meant, no, you're going to spend the rest of your life in jail. But I don't know. Maybe he could, as we can see here, maybe he could be an ally because, again, he was clearly very knowledgeable. He managed to find the Hydra book. Crack through S.H.I.E.L.D. I think it was S.H.I.E.L.D. Some database and some cybersecurity. Like, he was very good at that technical aspect. And he was a great planner because he managed to divide the Avengers for a lengthy period of time. But I'm interested how this will all play out. Again, it kind of reminds me of Civil War because now you have people with their own opinions and their own sort of agenda all colliding, and you're trying to figure out, okay, who do I agree with the most here? That's why I'm saying I like John Walker in some aspects. Like, again, he seems like a nice guy, but I kind of don't think he's like serious enough for the role of Captain America. I really like Sam. I think he's super disciplined, awesome at fighting, but he just needs his like motivation and understanding of how, well, I guess he does understand what the shield stands for, because he gave that nice speech about Steve. But Bucky, as being Steve's like best friends, he grew up with him and stuff, understands the importance of the shield and the legacy a bit more. So I like that they're having their new duo between each other. Obviously, they're going to start off on a rough foot. I'm sure by the end of this, they'll be, I wouldn't say BFFs, but they'll be really like a great duo, because I think they worked very well together and have a fun chemistry about them. The actors do. So I'm looking forward to more of that. And yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. There's only... No, this was episode 2. I have 4 more episodes left, and then I'm going to start Loki next week. So I'm excited for that. And I hope you are too, because until then, I'll catch you folks in the next video.